Today we're talking about some major Browns quarterback rumors in a report from an ESPN insider and the top options for Todd Monken to consider if this is true. Before we dive into those options, you tell me in the comments section who should be the Browns starting quarterback to start next season in 2026. Get your pick in that comment section for me down below before we discuss the top options for Monken that he may go out and consider. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, Joey O'Donohue. And like I said, today we're talking about a report from an ESPN insider. Drops a massive rumor for the Browns and their quarterback situation looking ahead to next season. What does this mean for Cleveland? Who's in the mix? Who could start? Are they getting somebody else? Here's what ESPN's Jeremy Fowler had to say about the matter. I don't think it was a matter of, hey, I want to work with Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. Although I think Todd can help get the best out of those guys, I expect the Browns to add there. I think the shakeup will be there, whether it's trying to swing a trade or a Malik Willis type in free agency or investing in the draft in Ty Simpson. Okay, wow. Major report here from Jeremy Fowler. The shakeup is coming in the Browns quarterback room. He expects us to go out and add another name into the room that has three quarterbacks on it already that, well, two saw playing time last year and one was worth 3 first-round picks, according to the Cleveland Browns. So let's talk about options that Cleveland may start, and we'll start with the first name that Fowler mentioned, and that is Malik Willis, who, quite frankly, he's the top free agent quarterback option in this market, which I don't know if that's a testament to how good he is or how bad the quarterback market is in free agency this year. I've told you guys there's not a whole lot of options, and that's why Malik Willis is the most impressive of the bunch. I mean, look at his completion percentage when he came into games. 85.7%. Threw for 422 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not a single interception for a quarterback of his play style. That's relatively impressive. We'll look at the 2 games that he did start and come in for the second half of Week 16 at Chicago. He came in for Jordan Love and went 9 of 11 for 121 yards in the half. 1 touchdown, no picks. He's also very mobile. Makes plays with his legs, 44 rushing yards in that game. And the quarterback rating in both of these is what stands out to me a lot. 142.8 and 135, right? His start against Baltimore, you could see, was also very impressive. And so the scouting report that I've come up with here on Malik Willis, when I watch some of the film, I look at some of those numbers. He's got good arm strength. He's great with his legs. And Todd Monken has been very vocal about wanting a quarterback that can scramble, that can move, that can get out of the pocket, extend plays. That is Malik Willis when you look at the film. Not only can he be mobile to run, but he can extend plays and buy time. You know, it is the type of quarterback that Monken says he would love to create and foster explosive plays. Now, I will note, Dan Orlovsky thinks it could be kind of expensive to get Malik Willis in the offseason. He actually went out and tweeted, Malik Willis is going to get $40 to $50 million this offseason. And everybody was like, Dan, can you be more specific? What do you mean by that? Over 4 years, over 2 years, 1 year? What are you talking about, Dan? I think he means 2-year deal, get like 40 to 50 million, right? And Malik Willis is going to be a probably 20 million plus a year quarterback here in free agency, which is expensive. Like, if you're going to make that investment for the Cleveland Browns, who are lacking in cap space, you have to know that's your guy. You have to love Malik Willis over every other option you have because, like I said, the top option in free agency for quarterbacks, teams are going to pursue him. Miami's going to have a say in this with their new head coach being a former Green Bay Packer coaching staff member. So you have to love Malik Willis if you're going to pay that sort of money. And you also have to be the Browns saying, we're committed to winning right now, and Willis gives us the best chance. We're paying him. So I don't know if taking another swing on a quarterback that you're not sold on is a good idea. What say you? Should the Browns bring in Malik Willis? Type S for sign, type P for pass. I almost think that unless he's a substantial upgrade, the money might be better spent elsewhere, like offensive line, a big-name wide receiver in free agency. You're not going to have a lot to play with to make a bunch of different big splashes. So I don't know that Willis is your answer, but that is the top free agent quarterback, and Fowler says he is going to be in consideration because Monken likes those style of QBs. Fowler also brought up Ty Simpson, landing him in the NFL draft here, the quarterback out of Alabama, who Probably not going to go top of the first round, but there's mock drafts where he does become a first-round pick, second-round pick potentially for an NFL football team. A lot of analysts have him as the second-best quarterback in the draft behind Fernando Mendoza. And when you look at some of those numbers on your screen here from last season, 3,567 passing yards, completion percentage, 64.5. Good numbers. I don't know that I have a huge sample size of Ty Simpson, right? Him playing 15 games last year, that excited me. I actually got to watch him a little bit more, but the 3 years prior to that, you didn't really see many games from Ty Simpson. So, again, I think it's too high of a pick, too high of an investment for Ty Simpson. I don't think his game translates to the NFL. We haven't seen a whole lot of it, quite frankly, in college. Dante Moore would have been a more intriguing option for me. I think I'd rather swing much later in the draft rather than have to pay Ty Simpson money and use a high draft pick that Cleveland should be using on offensive line and wide receivers. I'd rather, if you're going to take quarterback in this draft, you can get some value getting Drew Aller later, Sawyer Robertson later, maybe even the Clemson quarterback, Cade Klubnik. Those guys are going to go fourth round or later, I would think. I'd rather take that little investment, honestly, to get if you're bringing in another quarterback from the NFL draft than the second best QB in this draft who wouldn't be anywhere near the top 5 in a more loaded QB draft. That's my opinion on the two quarterbacks that Fowler has brought up. Let's talk about the one nobody wants to talk about. On our roster currently, Deshaun Watson still making a boatload of money. Deshaun Watson is still expected to be on the roster in 2026. And Todd Monken, there's a report that he's very intrigued by Deshaun Watson and actually wants to explore getting him back to his Pro Bowl form when he was a member of the Houston Texans. I don't know if Monken saw him play in Cleveland the past couple of years, but I will say when you look at the drop-off from 2020 to the years after that with the Browns, it is a fall from grace that needs to be studied. And obviously Watson's never played a full season for us, but that 2020 season nearly had 5,000 yards, 33 touchdowns to 7 picks. It's nothing like the Deshaun Watson that we got in Cleveland, who, by the way, you want to talk about QBR, he had a QBR of 21 in 2024. It was atrocious. And a large part of that, you could say, was Kevin Stefanski, perhaps, and the system. But there's no denying how good Watson was when he was a member of the Houston Texans. I'm going to say this take on Deshaun Watson. Number one thing I want for the Browns is I want to win. I want to win games. I want to make the playoffs. I want to make the Super Bowl in my lifetime, Lord, please. So I want the team to do whatever is best, whatever gives us the best chance to get to that point. And if Deshaun Watson ever returned to the form that he played in when he was a member of the Houston Texans, not only would we win games, we would be a playoff team. Guarantee you, if we had that Deshaun Watson, we would win a playoff game with this top 5 defense that we have. And so if that is at all a possibility, I would support it if Monken thinks he could bring the most out of Watson. I think it's unlikely, though. He tore his Achilles twice. It's not the same player. It's not. He has a long injury history. He's 30 years old now. As great of an offensive mind as Todd Monken is, I don't see him returning to that form. But if Monken tells me when he's given his press conference in preseason that Deshaun Watson won the quarterback battle and we're going to start him, I'd support it. It's like I said, my ultimate goal, the one thing I care about is wins right now for Cleveland. And it is the last year of Deshaun Watson's deal. This is the last you're getting of him on the roster. Other option is he's a veteran backup, which is cool for me as well, We don't need to start Deshaun Watson again. No. I'm saying if he wins the quarterback battle, if he genuinely looks like the best quarterback, like all of a sudden he's magically better after tearing his Achilles, I'd support the decision if that's what Monken tells me gives us the best chance to win. I don't think that'll be the case, but I would support it. You let me know in the comment section, though. I know it's a touchy subject. Should Watson get another chance? Sound off in the comment section about this concept, about this idea. Let me know if you think Watson deserves one more shot here for the Cleveland Browns. Like I said, if he wins it, go for it. But I don't expect that to be the case. I'm actually more intrigued to talk about Shedeur Sanders, what he could be for the Cleveland Browns, and if he could win this quarterback competition. Is Shedeur in the mix? That's coming up on the show. We will talk about number 12 here, folks, on the back half of today's program. But before we do that, let's give a special shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. I love this app. It's a lot of fun. I win money. And since I can't watch my favorite team anymore for a while, I want a way to stay entertained during these games and have something to root for. Prize Picks helps me do that. It makes all the games that much more entertaining. A new feature alert. Prize Picks now has early payouts. If your player gets off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Join millions of users and sign up for America's #1 sports picks app. Prize Picks is also giving us an awesome deal, a max discount, where you can get Drake May for more than half a passing yard. I'm going to have to add that to my lineup. I made a 2-pick power play with Drake May going for more than half a passing touchdown, and Kenneth Walker having more than half a touchdown. Can be rushing or receiving. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. Let us talk about Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback that started the last 7 games for the Cleveland Browns. Saw flashes, saw ups, some downs as well. But again, a lot to factor into Shedeur Sanders starts. The system and Kevin Stefanski's game plan, I thought, was awfully scripted for him. I thought the offensive line was a joke, an embarrassing unit to put out on the field every week. And there was a lack of targets for him. So take everything with a grain of salt here when you look at the box score for Shedeur. But a lot of analysts are weighing in on this. And actually, Emmitt Smith said today, there is no debate Shedeur Sanders should be the Browns starting quarterback. And a lot of people have come out and said this wholeheartedly, passionately. You know, Mel Kiper, who's always been a big supporter of Shedeur Sanders, at least a believer in Shedeur's game, he said this: I don't know what else the kid needs to do. Everything about Shedeur Sanders screams he's the quarterback. If you're going to sit there and tell me you weren't impressed with the rookie year of Shedeur Sanders, I would say you weren't watching the same game I was. I love how Mel stands on business. And this was like a couple of weeks ago. He's saying it's not even close. Shedeur should still be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And like I said, when you look at some of those numbers, you'll see the ups and downs here. But there's a lot of factors with the Cleveland Browns situations last season that you have to factor in here to the 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Again, not every interception is created equal also. Some of those, did bounce off of Judkins. One of them, Jerry Jeudy, it was a perfect throw to Jeudy in the end zone. And Jeudy somehow, some way, turns it into an interception. But I digress. I will say Shedeur should definitely be in the mix because of all of that. Because he's a rookie, because he showed some positives, some deep shots, mobility, there were good in Shedeur Sanders' game. I think he should get a fair shot and be in the battle with every other quarterback that is in this quarterback battle, right? Unlike last year where he was kind of just quarterback 4 and wasn't an option until all of a sudden he's your quarterback 1. Like, what were we doing? What were we preparing him for? Nothing. Kevin Stefanski didn't prepare him for anything. He didn't like him. He didn't want him to be the starter. So I think he should get a fair shot now, and he will get his shot to earn the job. However, I don't think this job is given to him. I don't think it's Shedeur's job because of the last 7 games last year. And even Shedeur Sanders would agree with me and say that. He said, when asked about Todd Monken saying Shedeur is not the guaranteed starter, Shedeur said, yeah, that's what's expected. He said, yeah, I have to go prove it. Shedeur is not saying, yeah, it's my job, I want it. He's saying, no, I expect that. I gotta go win. I gotta go win it. I gotta go earn the job. So I almost feel bad for Shedeur. He's not the one making all this noise. He's not the one getting out here screaming and saying, yeah, I should be the starter. This is BS. He's like, no, yeah, that makes sense. It's a quarterback battle. I gotta go out and win it. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, yeah, that's how it works. I got to earn it. Everybody else is doing the screaming and drawing name to his attention and accusing people of this and that. Guys, I love Shedeur Sanders. I've been a big fan of his for a while. You guys know that here on the show. But he hasn't earned the job yet for next year. And what he did last year wasn't like a boom, yes, that's the guy. It was they were good, they were bad, the system was terrible. I'm intrigued. I'm not sold. So, yes, he should be in this mix, but he has to win it, and Shedeur will tell you that too. Best case scenario for the Browns is that Shedeur Sanders is the guy, though. Right? My point is it's not guaranteed. He's also got 3 years left on his deal. I mean, Cleveland, when you look at it logistically, they might let Watson do the last year and Shedeur develop still, and then they'll still have 2 years for Shedeur Sanders. I know a lot of people probably don't want to hear that or think about that. I'm just throwing it out there. This is the Cleveland Browns we're talking about. Everything is up in the air. Everything is on the table here. But because, he's likable, he's box office, he's a fifth-round rookie last year on a rookie deal, and there were positives in his game, it is the best-case scenario that he becomes the guy. But that is not the case at the moment. Also, one more thing I want to say about Shedeur Sanders, a lot of people love his confidence. I think his mentality is another reason that it would be great if Shedeur Sanders is the guy. All the players notice it. Flacco said it at the Pro Bowl. Denzel Ward just said it the other day too. You can see that he has the confidence and the leadership of a successful quarterback. He's unfazed, which is great. So I would love for him to win this battle. I'm supporting him. I'm rooting for him. But it hasn't happened yet. We shall see. I want you to predict it for me. Will Shedeur Sanders win the starting job for 2026? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Get a letter in that comment section. Let me know what you think about number 12 and his chances to start again for the Cleveland Browns next season. And when it does get officially announced, I'm going to get on here, make a video, go live for you guys. So hit that subscribe button so you get the best analysis, Browns news, rumors, daily, and we'll let you know who they sign, trade for, all of it during this offseason. Who's going to be in this quarterback battle? I got you covered, so hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you all watching today's show, and I'll see you soon.